Let me also welcome on board Gurmeet Singh, Chairman and MD at Johnson Controls-Hitachi Air Conditioning India, with summers, soaring in most parts of the country already, and it's supposed to be a bad summer. What really is the outlook going forward? Gurmeet, hi, good morning. With the rising case and stricter restrictions, firstly, how is it that you're seeing the demand for the products shape up, and whether or not you'll be able to achieve the 20% growth in the current financial year, which you had earlier spoken about?
Thanks for having me on the show. There are two questions rolled into one. Actually, we were having a very, very good growth, or very robust growth coming from right from the October month festival, and then the early summers, which is Jan and Feb. March has been a bit of a dampener, where we believe that the COVID situation did make an impact. And going ahead in April also, with sporadic lockdowns coming in, and various night lockdowns or curfews are definitely impacting the demand. So I see that in the month of March, what was going on as a very fantastic growth has been impacted, and also going ahead in the month of April, we do see some challenges. So it's not all the way rosy. While the temperature is rising, and we did see some very good sales happening in South lately, as well as in Gujarat, and then followed by North India. But as of now, I would say it is not very rosy. To your question on whether we will be able to get our growths of 20%, well, that is said for the year 2021, and it is still the beginning. I am pretty sure that even if the month of April goes a little bit here or there, that 20% growth that we set out for, we should be able to get.
Okay. The other factor at play is also the uptick in commodity prices. You had already undertaken a price hike in the month of January. With commodity prices continuing to spiral up, can we expect more price hikes?
So this is something which is inevitable. We don't see any way to consume this within ourselves, although our engineering and procurement teams, along with our sales teams, are working very hard to make sure that the impact is passed on the lowest to the consumer. But having said that, to sustain even at the same levels of contribution or gross margin that we originally thought we should be, I think there is a price increase which is on the anvil in another month or so. The challenge today that we are facing is, of course, on the demand side. If the demand picks up a little bit, I think that will be a challenge to, as of now, a challenge to pass on the pricing is there. But then we are very sure that as soon as the demand comes back, customer will be willing to spend a little bit more on the requirements of his products. So I think yes, it's not only Hitachi. I think overall there is a straight away 4 to 5% increase, which is right there facing all of us.
What about the outlook when it comes to demand in smaller cities versus what we're seeing in the metros this time around?
So the smaller cities actually have been responding very well. We have found that the growth in smaller cities, in particularly class B and C, has been growing phenomenally. The penetration levels all over the country are about 6% level of air conditioners. But when we look at the major metro cities like Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai, the penetration has reached beyond 15% in some markets. But when we look at the smaller cities, the penetration is much, much lower, and that is where the aspiration as well as the demand is coming from. The industry as well as Hitachi has responded very well to go into the segments of entry level and bring the prices at the regular level. Now, not only that, when the smaller city customer is actually looking at the power consumption of the current air conditioners versus what they used to look at a couple of years back, I think there is a significant reduction in consumption of power, and therefore not only the entry level as well as first acquisition of the air conditioner, along with that the running cost also has gone down, and that's what is, I think, helping the smaller cities to come up to the next level. To add to that, all the organizations, including us, we have gone very strongly and expanded our distribution network, and almost now reaching out to 10,000 plus outlets, which is reaching to nearly 50% of the reach of every air conditioner sold across the country. So we, being a premium product, have reached out to almost like 10 to 11,000 outlets across the country, and therefore the customer has a reach to go and buy. Along with that, we have also created service centers which have reached to almost like 1,250 in number and reaching out to more than 500 cities plus. So wherever the customer buys the air conditioner, he also has a clear-cut availability of the service center next to that. That's what is driving the demand. The demand is actually, I would say, or the growths have actually gone to something like 30% in the smaller markets.
Okay, fair enough. And finally, can you just tell us what the outlook is when it comes to the rise in prices that we've seen for ACs? Are consumers down trading now and buying more 3-star ACs given the rise in prices?
This is a very interesting fact. Actually, we all thought that the customer will go and buy probably a lower class of air conditioner than what he was buying previously, just to fit in the pricing. Actually, the reality is that 3-star actually is the largest selling segment. So India probably is a market which values the middle star a lot. Whereas in many markets across the world, you will be surprised, the entry level is the largest selling air conditioner and not the top star rating air conditioner, most energy efficient air conditioner. But in India, we are finding in our range almost 35% of the ACs sold by us are in the range of 5-star. So people are buying the higher star of air conditioners, and I think the air conditioning of 5-star, why it is getting bought, is the primary reason of them being used in the bedrooms where a large number of hours of usage is there. So people prefer to buy a higher star of air conditioner there. We have found actually no pressure on the pricing of an air conditioner of a higher star being a restriction to buy by the by the customer. The 3 stars are bought as a second air conditioner or a less used kind of air conditioner, or people who have an aspiration to buy the first air conditioner, probably they go in for a 3-star and buy. Having said that, the largest segment still at about 65% is a 3-star air conditioner.
Okay. And finally, how do you expect the AC PLI scheme to aid the company? Can you just elaborate in terms of what the incentives are for the company in specific and how this really bolsters your overall CapEx plan?
So, you see, the PLI scheme, first of all, has something which is a real booster. The fact that the government recognized this industry to be worthy of being providing a PLI is something which is noteworthy, and thanks to the government for that. The PLI scheme, as you would be aware, is actually currently rolled out only on the components. So 70% of the components still are being imported from outside India, and therefore it is a very good step on behalf of the government to try and give this incentive of almost like 5,000 crores over 5 years to the component ecosystem. When you look at the finished goods, this probably government has not considered. I mean, government has not considered that, and our appeal to government is that they should consider adding on the finished goods also in the air conditioning PLI scheme. Now, specifically, if you were to ask Hitachi on whether we will be getting a direct benefit in terms of the PLI scheme by investing and doing the scheme as it stands today, we will not get a direct benefit. Of course, the indirect benefit by the component manufacturer getting a PLI incentive and passing it on to us will be definitely available. But having said that, the PLI scheme being available on various components like compressors, motors, PCBs, aluminium, copper, all of these to be invested in India. Well, some of them large projects might take a little more time, so the impact of the PLI scheme and the benefits in terms of cost coming in might take a little longer than what we would have expected if the FG was to start. If FG starts a finished good, which means if the finished goods also are covered under the ambit of this PLI scheme, I think the returns can come quicker and will be faster and also more elaborate. So as of now, directly we will not have benefit, but indirect benefits in terms of buying may start coming in as soon as the investments happen in the first year or so. and the outputs come out from that. But having said that, this PLI scheme, I'm sure, will help, in the longer run to make more Make in India components, and therefore more and more Make in India completely finished goods available in India. That's a very positive move.
Appreciate your time. Thanks much for joining in and giving us a view as to what the outlook is when it comes to the overall AC demand. All right. On that note, then, let's also focus in on India, which has added another vaccine to its arsenal in the fight against COVID. Dr. Reddy's Laboratories has confirmed that 60 to 70% of the global manufacturing of Sputnik will happen in India. Dr. Reddy's also clarified that the company is in talks with the government of India when it comes to the pricing of the vaccine. Let's hear it out from Deepak Sapra, the CEO API and Services at Dr. Reddy's.
How much of the total volumes will be made in India? As of now, based on our discussions with RDIF and based on the production capacities that we see at various places, we expect about 60 to 70% of the global volumes of Sputnik will be manufactured in India. The next question is about how much of the product made in India will be used for India. To start with, we expect that most of the product that is made in India will be used in India. Over a period of time, as availability eases, as more sites come upstream, there could be a possibility for additional exports happening from India. Next slide, please. Now, continuing on the how, there is a significant point of interest on storage and transportation. So the first question is, how will Sputnik be stored and transported? The current storage condition is minus 18 degrees centigrade or below. What we have done at Dr. Reddy's is to line up the cold chain, and we have made the logistics arrangements to ensure the delivery up to the last mile throughout the country. We have tested it out in a few simulation scenarios from Hyderabad as far east as the northeast Manipur, as far north as Ladakh, and as far south as Tamil Nadu. We've tested it out through various simulation mechanisms, and everywhere we believe that we have the necessary infrastructure in place to make sure that the cold chain and logistics is absolutely in place to ensure delivery up to the last mile throughout the country.